Welcome back to House of Hoon. Today I'm going to be having a chat with Hayden about his Hyundai Excel rally car and doing a walkthrough of it. If you're a long-time follower, you may remember this car from a few videos ago where I installed an AGI DIY roll cage kit into it. Since then, it's progressed into a fully completed rally car. And we're here with the man of the hour, Hayden. How's it going today, Hayden?
Good, thanks, Bronson.
That's good. All right, so let's start off with the fact that you're not the only owner of this car. Can you introduce us to who the other owner of the car is and how the dynamic between owning or co-owning a vehicle like this actually works?
Yeah, so myself and my good mate David Stiles, also known as Nobby. So we went halves in the car quite a few years ago, and the way that we work is we swap roles. So he'll enter a rally and he'll drive, I'll co-drive, and then the next rally I might enter, I'll drive, he'll co-drive. That does introduce some slight considerations. So before racing, we made a pact, and it's basically you break it, you buy it. So fairly recently, I rolled our last car into a big wad of scrap metal.
Driving down the road in my Hyundai Excel, tires screeching, engine making a weird sound as well. Every bump in the road feels like I'm in a bumpy ride. This car of mine has seen better days, I can't deny. Broken windows, cracked windshield, it's a sight to see. Radio only, play static, no melodies. I'm stuck in this old car, feeling so blue. But hey, I can't complain.
And so it was on me to make good and get another rally car, either buy another secondhand Excel, or in this case, we built this one. So I'm a little bit poorer, but I hopefully have learnt my lesson.
Yeah, that's definitely a consideration to take into account when you're pairing with someone else with a race car.
Yeah.
So as some of the viewers are probably thinking, why on earth would anyone want to race a Hyundai Excel? Can you tell everyone what makes racing Excel so much fun, and also why people should actually get into Excel racing?
Well, obviously they're the fastest car available, but setting that aside, really the appeal is the quality of the racing for the money that you spend. So this is a limited modification class. It's got a bone stock engine just as it rolled out of the factory in 1998. We've got really good shock absorbers, we've got really good brakes, we've got incredible safety equipment, but that's it. So we can't go and spend extraordinary amounts of money on horsepower. That means that when we go out there on the stages, all the other Excels are equal, and it really comes down to your driving, and that makes the class really close. It really pushes you to be the best driver that you can be, and we have so much fun for a very modest amount of money.
Yeah, absolutely. One way to have a lot of fun on a budget.
Yeah.
All right, so let's roll into doing the walkthrough for the car.
Cool. Here it is. This is Hyundai horsepower. So basically from here to the catalytic converter is stock. You can't change anything in there. It's a bone stock motor. We can put a different intake on it, and then the exhaust from the cat back is free. But yeah, that's all of the, I don't know what it was, 70 kilowatts that they're supposed to come with from the factory. They're still there, and that's it.
So also I noticed that you've got a couple of reinforcement plates here. Can you tell us why they actually put some reinforcement plates on the towers?
Absolutely. So with rallying, with just the impacts and the amount of massive hits that the car takes and going over jumps and stuff, you'll actually dome out a standard shock tower. So the shock absorber will start pushing through the standard tower. So this reinforces that, gives it a much stronger platform. We've also gone through and stitch welded all of the panel seams. It's a bit dirty, there's little stitch welds and stuff through here. Again, just to strengthen the front of the car and allow it to take that beating without falling to bits. So we've got stock 13-inch Hyundai wheels. So we run stock alloys that we just get from the wreckers. But these are beautiful. These are Dunlop tyres. We've run a few different brands over the years, but these are quite good. And they're proper rally tyres. So they're super grippy, super heavy duty carcass that can take the beating that we give it. And they really transform the car. The amount of grip on them is phenomenal. We'll generally go through a set of front tyres in an event. So even with that very limited amount of power, that gives you an idea of just how soft and grippy the tyre is. That will actually wear it out in a single event.
So what suspension are you running in the Excel, and does everyone need to run the same suspension, or is that a free component for all races?
Yeah, in our car we run a Motorsport Bilstein strut. The housing is custom made for this car, but not everyone runs the same suspension. So you'll commonly see DMS, Drummond Motorsport, and MCA suspension in the Rally Excels. So it's probably the key bit of performance in the car that's open, and it's generally regarded that MCA is the suspension to have. We're quite happy with our suspension. We've developed it a bit, adjusted the spring rates, and we've got it quite good. So it's quite competitive now.
So let's roll into the inside of the car now and check it out. Alright, now we're inside the car, or at least Hayden's inside the car. Let's roll through what is actually involved in setting up the interior of a rally car like this. So if we start with the race seats, Hayden, did you want to explain the positioning of the race seats and kind of what's required of the race seats?
Sure thing, Bronson. So I suppose to start with, in terms of the minimum requirements to go rallying in Victoria, you do have to have a certified race seat. This one is a beautiful seat. It's got the head protection as well to stop your head rattling around when you roll it into a ball of tin. You need good quality seat mounts that are designed and built to a minimum specification. You can just bolt the seat on its mounts to the floor with some good reinforcing, but we've chosen to go for what it's called an FIA style mount. So it's 35 by 35, I think, box section steel. We've cut the floor to get the location of the seat really, really good for the driver. And that's all fabricated and welded in. Super strong, which is what you want, because if you crash the car, you want the seat to stay where it is.
So what other safety equipment is required, and what other safety equipment is in this specific car?
Okay. So the next, I suppose, most important thing and one of the biggest tickets items in the car is this beautiful roll cage. I think you probably might have seen it before on the channel. So Bronson did all the welding on this cage. It's a prefab cage from AGI that did all the bends and the design. At the time, Bronson wasn't available to do the cage. He was booked out. But then by the time AGI finished it, I managed to get in with him and get it welded in. So it's a good cage. It's a beautiful cage. Not as good as Bronson's, but we're still super happy with it. And Bronson's done an amazing job of welling it in. So that's the next major thing. Then you need fire extinguishers. So if you look just down here in front of the seat, you'll see there's a fire extinguisher there. There's another one in front of the co-driver. You need 6-point harnesses, again to a Motorsport standard. The final sort of major safety thing for rallying in Victoria, I can't actually show you, but I can show you the wiring for, is a rally safe computer. So at every event, the organisers will supply a little unit that attaches to this RAM mount, and that rally safe computer is telling the organisers of the rally where we are, whether we're still moving. It will sense if we've had an impact, and that way the organisers can respond and they can send in medical intervention if it's needed, and make sure that we're safe on the stages.
So, did you want to tell us a couple of things about a few extras I see inside? I don't think that's the standard position of the gear selector. And also I see a couple of extra buttons and things that were not standard in the Excel from factory. So did you want to run us through all of that?
Sure thing. So starting with the shifter, this has got underneath the shifter there's this bracket, this frame that raises the shifter up about, I think it's about 10 centimeters or so. That makes the location of the gear shift much easier for the driver, much, I suppose, more ergonomic than a stock shifter. The shifter is also had a modification in order to shorten the throw of the gear lever, to give it a shorter shift, a bit more like an actual sports car rather than a little commuter. And then we've got quite a lot of accessories in this car for rallying. This little switch box operates all the lights and bits and pieces in the car. So we've added interior lights if we are in a night rally, that we can illuminate the interior if we need to change a tyre or something along those lines. We also have attached to the roof here this little guy, which is I can't remember which one of these it is. There it is. This is a navigator's note light, and I can use this to illuminate a notebook of pace notes on a night stage without affecting the driver's night vision. We've also got lots of charging ports, phone holder. Very important up here, which is going to be a bit hard to see because of the light. This is our intercom. So when we're racing, we're plugged into this, and we've got a headset within our helmets so that we can talk to each other over the noise of the engine and the noise, the incredible noise of the rocks hitting the bottom of the car as you speed down a stage. And the final electrical gizmo that we have in this door here is a trip meter. So this is for the navigator to know how far through the stage you are. Everything in rally, all the instructions is based on distance from your service, distance from each control point, and this will track the distance that you're doing through each stage, so you can know where you're up to in your pace notes.
So, what's this net thingy? Because, I don't see any circuit cars that usually have this.
Well, this is where I keep all my snacks. I get very hungry. No, that's not true. I do get very hungry in rallies, but this is a helmet net. So in the rallying, there's a lot of driving on public roads at normal speeds to get to the special stages. And it can be quite uncomfortable to do that with your helmet on. So when we complete the special stages for the day, and we've got a 15-20 minute drive back to the service park, we'll take our helmets off, we'll pop them in here. That way they're safe, they're not hitting anything, they're not getting knocked about in the car as we go back to service.
Also, I noticed that you've got a few spare things in the back here, which once again is something that circuit cars just don't require. Can you run us through what each thing is and why you need to carry all of your own equipment and spares for your racing?
Yeah, sure can. So the first thing is a jack and a spare tyre, because the stages are super rough and it's not at all uncommon to puncture a tyre on a special stage. So we have this jack with this easy to access tie down system and this quick release on the spare tyre so that we can quickly jump out, change the tyre on a stage, jump back in and carry on. You'll notice that there's a little nut on the end of here, so we can use a rattle gun to actually operate the jack and get the car in the air really quickly, which is a pretty cost effective way of changing a tyre quite fast. We've also got a holster over here. In that we can fit the rattle gun ready to go, so that's super quick and easy to access. We've got down here some triangles, some emergency triangles. So if we have an issue on stage and the car is going to be in the way of the competitor that follows us, we'll go back down the stage 50 meters or so, we'll pop the triangles down, and as they approach at speed, they'll understand, yeah, hang on, there's going to be a car that we need to be careful of and make sure that we don't hit it. The final thing that we have, or the last two things, super important, first aid kit. That's mandatory that we carry that. One of the key things about rallying is we are the first responder for the accident of the car in front of us. Hopefully they don't have an accident, but if they are, we will be the first people on the scene. So the rules require us to stop, and of course you're going to stop. And we've got a first aid kit. We've got that rally computer. We can communicate with the rally HQ, and we can administer first aid and help out our fellow competitors if they need it. The final thing that we are amateurs. Our car does break, so we have a toolbox. The most satisfying thing in rallying is finishing a rally. It's not easy. And so we've got a basic toolkit with a few tools in there to be able to make repairs. On the special stage, hopefully not, but certainly between the special stages, when we're on a transport or we're waiting at a checkpoint, that can be the difference between making it through the rally and not. You know, you can jump out, you've got some basic tools, you can effect a repair, and you can keep going until you get to the service park to get it fixed properly.
Now that we're under the car, let's run through a couple of things that are under here. So I guess we'll start with the exhaust. Is there anything fancy about this exhaust?
Yeah, so that's an exhaust from Scott's Rods, which does a few things for the Excel circuit series. It mostly makes nice, loud brum brum noises. Probably a little worth a kilowatt or two, but it's basically just two hot dog mufflers and a nice big center section that's much more free flowing than a standard Excel exhaust. You can just see we've actually plated the section where it comes around the fuel tank right in deep there. A bit hard to see, sorry. And that's just again because it cops a lot of rocks and impact as you go down the stages. And so we've plated that section so that when it cops all those rocks, it doesn't fold in and collapse. You'll also see while we're here that the fuel tank's been wrapped. This is a Kevlar matte composite. Again, just to deal with all the impacts that it cops from all the rocks and debris on the stages. Stops the fuel tank puncturing. It's also got a reinforcing plate of aluminium through the middle section underneath the fuel pump. Pretty common on Excels that they'll get a big smack in the bottom of the fuel tank, and the fuel pump will actually just snap off and stop supplying fuel, and that's the end of your rally. So protecting that really makes a difference to getting to the end of each race.
So as we're jacking the car up from the front, I'll let Hayden explain why there's just a little bit of a dent in the bash plate.
There's a little dent there. That may be where Nobby hit a tree when we were doing a test day, which I was pretty happy with because someone had to christen the car. It's a rally car, it's going to hit things. He took care of that.
Alright, now that we are underneath the car, we've got a heavy duty bash plate here. So Hayden, did you want to tell us what material it is, kind of what its purpose is, and how far it goes back and for what reasons?
Yeah, so it's aluminium, 6mm, I think it's 60, 61 or maybe a grade below that, but a very good grade of aluminium with a good temper that makes it super, super strong. It's just got a couple of folds in it. There's a frame that attaches it to the chassis rails, and that's super important because these cars take massive hits as you're going down the stages. You'll hit big rocks that have been pulled out by the cars in front of you. The stone wear on the bottom of the car is incredible. So this protects all the engine, makes sure that the sump, the oil filter, everything stays intact. And yeah, absolutely critical. It's also strong enough that we can just jack straight underneath the bash plate, so you don't have to go looking for jacking points in service. You just run a trolley jack under there, straight into the air. And you can see this is quite new, but if you maybe we'll put some close-ups in, but you can see how much the aluminium is already wearing away, how many massive gouge marks and stuff there are from all the stones from the rough roads that we race on.
Now, if we go around to the side, we've got another bit of aluminium, and here we have this one right on the sill. And as you can see, there is a absolute crap ton of marks already in it. So, can you tell us why we would bother putting a plate on the sill like this?
So, similar reason. This is amazing. This is a single race that this sill guard has done, and there is so much damage from the rocks in the aluminium already. It's just incredible. And so, particularly from wheel spin, the car is throwing rocks at the side of the car all the way down. Our old car had no paint in any of the sills, and in fact the stone blast had worn away the metal to the point that there was actually holes beginning to form in the sills of the car simply from all the stones that are thrown at it by the front wheels.
Now that we've had a tour around the whole car, we did forget one thing, which was the roof vents. So often in rally cars, they'll have roof vents, and I'll let Hayden explain why that is.
Yeah, so we've got these vents in the roof. There's one here for the driver. There's one for the navigator that might be hard to see because of the light. These are about getting some ventilation for the driver and navigator, and also they basically do two things. They're about getting good ventilation because it's pretty hot in the car without any sound deadening and carpet on the floor. You get a lot of heat from the engine. But one of their main functions is about pressurizing the car with air that stops dust from the road coming into the car and clouding your view. So the extra air through the top pressurizes the car, keeps all the dust out, gives us a little bit of fresh air, so that when we're racing, we can stay nice and cool and keep going as fast as possible.
Alright, so if anyone is interested in getting into Excel racing, whereabouts would they find some information on doing that?
Yeah, probably the best place to go is to the Wodonga Car World Excel Racing Facebook page. Wodonga Car World supports the series, and they've been a great help. If you jump on that Facebook page, that's where you'll find news about the series, and you can also message that page to find out further information. In addition, give our race team a follow, so that's HD Motorsport on Facebook, and I'm happy to field any questions. So if you've got any questions, just message HD Motorsport on Facebook Messenger, and I'll be happy to help out and put you in touch with everyone that is involved in the series.
Alright, thank you very much for showing us your car today. She's a bloody ripper. And hopefully you've all enjoyed watching today's video. If you have, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you would like to see more content like this, consider subscribing, and we'll catch you on the next one.
A race with a British guy, I've got to use British English. Otherwise he wouldn't understand it.
Jesus Christ.
That better make the edit. No pressure.
You got your head here. Yeah, that'll be better.